Hello everybody, welcome to I Teach Skills channel. My name is Aiden. In today's video, I am excited to bring you PowerShell Certificate Authentication. PowerShell Certificate Authentication is very much the best you can do, especially when you work for enterprise IT or maybe small business. There are so many scenarios you can use for PowerShell remote authentication or certificate authentication rather, and the scenarios are as following. You could use certificate authentication if you do not want to manually run scripts at night. Let's just say you have a user creation script, or maybe you have some type of script that does cool things at night that you wanted to not do it repeatedly by yourself. So A, you could forget, or B, you could just basically, start getting tired of it. And then C, you could also use the PowerShell certificate authentication to basically keep in track of it. You could do something where it does it any type of script you want to. The idea is there to make it to where you can be creative. So with that in mind, we're gonna actually put this into practice. How can we run PowerShell certificate authentication? There is a couple of steps involved. You do need to be a GA admin if possible. Otherwise, you may have to get the proper delegation in Microsoft 365. You also need to be an admin in your computer to be able to execute the script or what we're gonna do. So if you don't have those permissions, make sure you have those permissions, because otherwise you may run into some challenges. If you have those permissions, and you maybe, preferably, I would say, be on the lab to test this before you put in your production. See how it works, get a feel for it, attach it to your scripts, and have fun reusing it. And we're gonna click on show all admins, and then that's gonna show you this page. And if you see show all admin center, you're gonna click on Microsoft Intra page. This is formerly Microsoft Azure Active Directory. They renamed it to Intra, which I think is a better name because the other one was confusing with a lot of things. So in any case, from here on, what you're going to be doing is you're gonna click on Application. You're gonna click on App Registration. So, and the app registration, you are going to do a couple things here. You're gonna actually create a new registration. You're gonna click on new registration, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna name your new app registration name. So you're gonna name it in accordingly. So I'm going to go ahead and name my app in a second. So I'm gonna call mine. I'm gonna call mine ITKY Exchange Automated Scripts. So that's what I'm gonna do, and that's just for what I wanted to make sure that I abbreviate it. And then from this point on, you can leave everything default. So just name whatever you want to call the application registration, and you can hit register. By doing this, what you're now gonna see is, you have your branding, properties, authentication, certificate, and secrets, token, configuration, API permission, expose an API, rules. This is a lot. So you have all those things. The only part that you're gonna be interested later on is gonna be certificate and API permissions, which we're gonna do the API permission right now. So you're gonna click on API permission, and you're going to grant this application an API permission so you can actually do the Exchange authentication or whatever you want to do later on. So in this case, we're gonna focus on Exchange. So we're gonna click on add a permission. And the reason you're doing this is because by design, this is shell. It doesn't do anything. You have to tell it what you want to do. You have to tell it what permissions you want to give it to. So in this case, by hitting add a permission, we're going to click on API microorganization use. So APIs microorganization use. And then from here, you're going to search for Office. And then over here, you're going to click on Exchange Online. Office 365 Exchange Online. And then from here, you're going to click on Application Permission. And from here on, you are going to click on the drop-down menu on the Exchange, or the expand the arrow on Exchange, and click on Manage Exchange Manage as App. Manage Exchange as Application. You're going to check this mark. You're going to ignore everything else. Don't check anything else. Just check this area, and you're going to hit Add Permissions. Now you did that, the next thing you're gonna do is you need to grant permissions. So you're gonna click on grant permission, and basically you're gonna click on here where it says consent for your organization. So in this case, I'm going to consent for my entire organization. I Teach Incorporated, aka I Teach Skills. So I'm going to consent it. I'm going to hit yes. By consenting, you saying, I trust this application. You don't consent the application willy-nilly. You have to consent it when you know what the application is all about. In this case, I trust it. So I consented. So now that I consented this application, the next thing we're going to have to do before we get further along is we're going to have to generate the certificate, self-signed certificate. So that way we can do the next part. Okay, so now we did this. We're ready to do the next important piece, which is creating self-signed certificate. So you can see over here, I have put together some, 5 steps for you to do this. So the first step is going to be to run this command. The command is simply, I'm going to copy and then I'm going to show you what it does. I'm going to explain to what it does. So you can see here, this is the command. I'll copy it and I'm going to make a full screen here. So that way you can see the command clearly. The first command is simply, let me move my face away from here so that way you guys can see it. So the first command is simply to create a new self-signed certificate with a DNS name. The DNS name is the most crucial part of the command. So make sure you don't confuse the DNS name for my domain. This is my domain. Yours is going to be different, whatever your domain is. And then the friendly name, you want to change it to whatever you want over here. And I can put this in the descriptions later on so you guys can see it. I just call it Exchange Automated Cert. And I also had to change the valid period of the cert. So I made mine 30 years. And that's why. And again, 30 years is a long time. I mean, Microsoft probably will be doing everything with AI by then, or replace every human being from doing this. But until then, we're going to go ahead and continue, right? So now I will copy this first line and I label them in order. I'm going to copy the first line and I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to the PowerShell, open PowerShell policy. I'm going to go ahead and actually paste the first command. That's it. And then I'm going to paste the second command to pull my thumbprint of the certificate, self-signed certificate. And then after that, I'm going to paste the third command, which is to export the CSR. And you can see it did that. It exported a CSR. And then I'm going to paste the fourth command, which is to export the certificate as a PFX. So, and you can see we have to put a password in. This password do not share with anyone. It will be detrimental to your organization. It will undermine security. So I'm doing this for demo. I will delete this after I upload the video. But for you, if you're doing this on production, come up with a 64-character password, something that's hard to break, or so that way you don't give hackers easy go, because you are effectively going to give this certificates, thumbprint, all the things it needs to be able to become an Exchange admin, which means they can do anything. They can delete your rules. They can do whatever. So you don't want to represent anything like that. So that's why I'll be very careful on this if I were you. So I'm going to go ahead and enter this. All right. There you go. So I just had my path wrong. And if it is, it tells you exactly you couldn't find the C drive because I had that whatever $sign or some weird thing going on. But I fixed it. Now we did finish the exporting of the cert. And then this is the last step. Not now. So this is the last step to do after we do the next part. So now we did that. We generated the certificate as CSR and PFX. And we stored it on our C drive in here. We stored it over here. You can see this is what we did. Now what we need to do is going to be going back to Microsoft 365 portal and doing the rest of it. So we end up going back to Microsoft 365 portal right now. On here, what we're going to do is we're going to click on certificate and secrets. And then we're going to click on certificates. We're going to upload a certificate. And then we're going to hit upload the Exchange Automated Cert. We're going to upload that. And then we're going to name this. We're going to name the description. Just call it Exchange. I'm just going to call it demo. And I'm going to hit add now. By hitting add, we now successfully done the third step, and we're now gonna do the fourth, and then the fifth step will be done. So now what we're gonna do is go to actually the Azure portal over here. So let me just grab the Azure portal, but where it says roles and administrators, and then you're gonna search for Exchange administrator, and you're gonna click on add permissions or add an assignment, and you're gonna search for ITKY, whatever you call your application name. So that's why it's important to call it something you can remember or something that's easily makes sense. This is ITKY dash Exchange automated scripts, and I'm gonna click here and add to give it full permission. So this now has full permissions. I'm going to go back to application registration. So I'm going back to application registration, the application we created, this one. I'm gonna copy the application client ID first, and I'm gonna paste it right here. That's the client ID. Then once I got the client ID, I'm gonna go back, and I'm also gonna copy the certificate thumbprint, and then once I copy the certificate thumbprint, then we're gonna use that. So let's come over here, copy this, go back to Notepad++, and then paste this. So now that we have this, and then I'm gonna put it under here. So this is where the certificate thumbprint goes. It's a longer one, and I'm gonna copy the next application client ID, which is gonna go right here. All right, so now we did this. We're simply gonna go ahead. If you want, you can save the file, but I can just usually copy this, the entirety of the command. And this command is simple. I'm gonna paste it, and I'm gonna tell you basically. So all this command is doing is it's authenticating using Exchange as the certificate thumbprint. If you guys remember, right now, let me go ahead and CLS this because we don't need this anymore. Clear this. Now, if you were to authenticate, with the Exchange in the past, this is how you authenticate. So just so you know the difference. Connect, I'm gonna type in connect dash Exchange online, and then dash user principal name. You want to populate the user principal name, and then you put the user principal name in this question. And I put my user principal name. That's how you do it in the past, or how you do it without the certificate thumbprint. If I have a user with that name, it's gonna show me the identity of that user. And if I go ahead and do the same thing again, just do pipe and then do FL, this is gonna show me everything about the user that I wanted to do. So this is how you do it on the regular traditional PowerShell. You have to do authenticate yourself. But on the certificate thumbnail, all you're gonna have to do is go back to PowerShell, run as administrator, or find a way to basically do that, elevate the computer you're gonna be doing this from, and then you're gonna basically copy your certificate thumbnail, disconnect Exchange Online, certificate thumbnail is gonna be a username, application ID, and then you're gonna put in your domain and the organization with a domain, and then I'm going to do that with mine, and I'm gonna hit paste. Now I am missing something, and I'm gonna have to check what I'm missing over here because it doesn't seem like I have everything, and I know what I'm missing. And this is something you have to be very careful. I'm missing the closing quotation mark, so I'm gonna have to put that in, and I'm gonna hit enter. And it's gonna do the same thing, except I won't be asked for password anymore. I won't be asked for credentials. I'm just gonna simply be in, which is why securing this credential or this, the certificate thumbnail in the proper location, it's extremely important, because anybody with the wrong hand gets a hold of this, it could be dangerous. So that's it. Now I can do the same command again. Let's just go ahead and do the same thing. So I'm gonna go ahead, get dash mailbox identity is gonna be again, do the same user, and then just do pipe more or FL in this case to show the full detail of the user. And you can see it's doing it. So that's how we were able to, quickly set up a PowerShell certificate authentication. Whether you wanted to do this on remote scripting or you're just bored of typing credentials, whatever your choice will be, you have now options to do this. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If it is, please, leave a like, comment, and if you found anything that's helpful, subscribe to the channel if you want to. It will help us so much. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.